Thanks for the intro, Vish. So, what does an accountant use for birth control? His personality. Why did the accountant cross the road? To bore the people on the other side. And what do you call an accountant talking to someone? Popular. There are hundreds of jokes about the accounting profession, most of which focus around a central theme that accountants are boring and dull. My name is Chris Hooper, and I'm an accountant. So why accounting? It's a good question. In fact, why would somebody voluntarily opt into a profession that's perceived as so dull and so boring? That's why it's the first question I actually ask university students at the start of each semester, and that's why it's the first question I ask every single new candidate that sits with a job interview at my firm. It takes a special kind of someone to make it in the accounting game. I've been a compulsive entrepreneur since age 13, and I love business. I love being in business, I love doing business, I love everything about business. So to leave the world of business and go into university, as a high school dropout nonetheless, required a big why. Back then, my why was to better understand the numbers side of business. I got marketing, I got sales, I got logistics, but I did not get accounting. The sheer notion of doing a tax return absolutely did my head in. I felt like it was my biggest weakness in my entrepreneurial arsenal. That was enough of a why to get me into uni, but I'd need more than that to get through uni. My second why came at about age 21, when I was halfway through my studies, actually working at an accounting firm to actually supplement my learning. You'll remember at this point that I was still in love with the sheer notion of doing business. Well, I discovered that in accounting, you don't just get to play with one business, but you get to play with hundreds of businesses. Just as you'd see someone obsessed with cars become a mechanic, for me, accounting was my outlet for someone who was obsessed with business. My third why came after graduation. I was on my way to work listening to a podcast from my friend Emily Gower. She was talking about this notion of global perspective, about how everything you do feeds into the world, and the greater your sense of purpose, the greater your reach. It was then I realised that the accounting profession reaches every single corner of the earth and affects everyone's life in some way, shape or form. Now, I want you all to think about the chairs that you're sitting on right now. A cost accountant at the manufacturer priced up the raw materials to make those goods. An accounts receivable clerk at the manufacturer sold that to the wholesaler. The invoice was recorded by the wholesaler's accounts payable clerk. The wholesaler's external auditors counted your chair in a stock take in the wholesaler's warehouse. And at least 3 other accountants touched your chair when the wholesaler sold your chair to the retailer, who ultimately sold it to the university. What I saw was a profession with massive impact, but limited vision. The fact is, accountants have the power to change the world. They just don't realise it. Accounts are perceived as dull and boring, but why? There was no reason. There was just no catalyst for change. It was then that I decided to stay in the accounting profession. I decided that I could become that catalyst for change. I'd figured out my life's purpose. I call it the tombstone test. It summarises how you want to be remembered for the rest of eternity. I decided that I wanted to be remembered as the man who changed the accounting game forever. So how does one change the accounting game forever? First, I thought that rather than just starting up any business for the sake of being in business, I'd actually start a business in the accounting profession. This would enable me to not only help my clients, but also to lead the profession by example. I could then lead by inspiring the staff that I'd hire, by making work fun and making the accounting profession sexy. So how do you exactly make the accounting profession sexy? Well, I've got 3 words: freedom, purpose, and mastery. Everyone at our firm actually works part-time and casually. Now, what this does is it actually enables to free up time for other pursuits. So whatever else you may be interested, it could be studying extra subjects, additional subjects at uni, arts, music, or even starting your own business. Everyone works wherever they want, whenever they want. I don't care as long as the job gets done. We put a focus on fitness, and this is exactly why I moved into the Aurora building, where we've got a swimming pool and a gym on the roof that's free to use for all of our staff. We brought fun into the workplace. I know that's shocking for the accounting profession, but we've got an Xbox in the office and we've got Nerf guns for all of our staff. There's a whole bunch more that we do, but I don't have time to cover it all. But the whole point is that making the accounting profession sexy was all good, but for me personally, it felt like my scope was limited. So I personally ramped up my activity. That's when I started looking at students. I figured that through teaching I could actually influence the next generation of accountants to think differently and go out into the world with a global perspective. Through my work as a mentor and through the firm's intern program, I could have a direct impact on the leaders of tomorrow. And then finally, as a speaker and a writer, I can impact people like you here tonight to change the way you think about the accounting profession. So the next time you see your accountant, give them a hug for me. Thanks.